Hello and welcome to another video on this new YouTube channel, Gourmet Glasses. This is the gourmet side of things, and today we are making homemade waffles. I mean, come on, who doesn't like some warm homemade waffles? I know I'm wearing the same clothes as last week's video, but they are pajamas and they are clean, so I'm going to start out by making the waffle batter. I'm using a special recipe that I've used for many years that allows the waffles to be fluffy in texture and super good. There are a few different steps during this fluffy waffle recipe, and we will get started on them in 1 second. Before we get started, we are having a special guest today, my sister. She wanted to be in the video, so here she is. There are 3 different parts within this waffle batter recipe: the dry ingredients, the wet ingredients, and the egg whites. Let's start out with the dry ingredients. We are going to need to sift the dry ingredients in a sift that is, for some reason, very small. You'll need to sift together 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, a total of 4 teaspoons of baking powder, it seems like a lot but trust me, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Give them a little mix and move on to separating your 2 eggs, right after a delayed transition with your special guest. Get 2 medium-sized bowls, but make sure to put the egg yolks in the bigger bowl. Decide that it's a good idea to let your sister separate the eggs. It was not. And then realize that might have not been the best idea. It's okay though, she did the right thing and pretended like nothing happened. After you're done, beat the egg whites to stiff peaks. And while you make your sister, or any assistant, do that, you can work on the other wet ingredients. This includes those 2 egg yolks, 2 cups of milk of any kind, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and a teaspoon of vanilla. Whisk that until everything is just combined. While you're waiting for your assistant to finish whipping the egg whites, whisk the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients until everything is combined. It should look like and be pretty similar to a waffle batter, but it will be a little too thin to be a waffle batter. And once your assistant is finally done, check to make sure the egg whites are done, and then fold in the egg whites. Now I hope that everyone knows the best way to test if egg whites are at stiff peaks is to hold the bowl over your head upside down or just upside down. If they don't fall out, then they're ready. Make sure not to overmix the batter. Now, once you're done mixing and you tap the spatula on the side of the bowl, do another badly timed transition with your sister or any assistant. Once you have finished your batter, you can head to the waffle iron. I should have started mine before I was done with the batter, but it's fine. Just start your waffle iron whenever you get a chance. Now, let's make some waffles. While the waffles are cooking, how about a fun fact? The first known waffle recipe was penned in an anonymous manuscript in the 14th century and was written by a husband as a set of instructions for his wife. Now you just saw the waffles being made, but let's go back in time a little. While you are waiting for the waffles to cook, you can make any sides for toppings. For example, whipped cream or strawberries. I'm going to make a strawberry mix that is so good on top of these waffles and has no recipe. First, cut up the strawberries to the size you like. I prefer to 1/4 the big ones and 1/2 the small ones. Just make sure to remember to put the strawberries in the strawberry bowl and the stems in a different place. I was not very good at this for some reason. Once you're done cutting the strawberries, you are ready to add the seasoning. You just need to eyeball the measurements to whatever you want, and this is the best case because you have to taste a lot along the way. In no particular order, add in a pinch of salt, which brings out the sweetness of the strawberries, a spoonful or 2 of granulated sugar evenly dispersed around the strawberries, a splash of vanilla, or whatever this ended up being. Whoops. And some freshly ground nutmeg. Pre-ground is fine, but fresh nutmeg is definitely the way to go. And finally, the juice from half a lemon. I may or may not have forgotten about the lemon, but I added it after mixing it the first time. The good thing is you can't overmix strawberries. I used 1 carton of strawberries, so this all depends on what you like and how many strawberries you have. Give the strawberries a taste to make sure they are perfect. Now, let's plate this thing. First, grab a plate, then do a stupid dance while you make your brother get the 2 waffle wedges. Now that I've got my waffles, I'm going to set them up almost in the middle of the plate. Then, I will put some strawberries in front and on top of the waffles. Now, these waffles would definitely go best with some homemade whipped cream. Too bad I didn't have any heavy whipping cream. Not the best plating, but it's just a rustic, classy breakfast. And now let's take some beautiful pictures. Thank you for joining me and my sister while we make waffles, and I hope you make this yourself.